If you've been feeling like the AI landscape is moving at a speed that makes your head spin, you are absolutely not alone.
Yeah.
Breakthroughs, new products, these really heated debates, it feels like the ground beneath us is just constantly shifting, maybe hinting at the dawn of a completely new era.
It's an incredible pace, isn't it?
It really is. It's a lot to keep track of. And frankly, who has the time to read every single article, every research paper, every company announcement?
Exactly. And what's truly fascinating, I think, is how these seemingly disparate announcements, one day it's a groundbreaking model, the next a major geopolitical policy shift, then some new robot capability, they all connect.
Right.
They're part of this broader hyper-accelerating trend. We are, I think, well beyond just incremental improvements now. We're really in a period of foundational change.
So our mission in this deep dive is basically to be your shortcut. We've sifted through a stack of sources, articles, research, our own notes to cut through that noise for you. Our goal is to extract the crucial insights, distilling the most important nuggets of knowledge so you can understand not just what's happening, but the deeper why, and maybe most importantly, what it truly means for you.
Yeah.
Think of it as your express pass to being well-informed, maybe with some surprising facts and hopefully enough humor to keep you hooked.
Exactly. Our journey today is, well, ambitious, but I think essential. We're going to explore the dual nature of the AI economy, this fascinating mix of boom and bubble alongside the intense infrastructure race and the geopolitical chess match playing out globally.
Okay.
Then we'll move into the unprecedented advancements in AI models and capabilities, delving into the very intelligence itself. From there, we'll shift to the embodied AI and robotics revolution, seeing how these digital minds are now, walking and working in our physical world.
Right, getting bodies.
After that, we'll analyze AI's profound impact on daily life, from the devices in your pocket to your work, health, and societal norms. And finally, we'll tackle the critical security and ethical considerations, culminating in a look at the future landscape and what it demands of us all.
Okay, let's unpack this dizzying landscape, starting with the economy. Because what we're witnessing in the AI market presents this absolutely fascinating paradox. A legitimate tech boom coexisting with localized bubbles of overhype and speculation.
Yeah.
Dan Buckley, the chief analyst at daytrading.com, put it really well when he said he sees AI as a legitimate tech boom for sure, but he points out it also contains these, localized bubbles of overhype and speculation.
Localized bubbles. It's an interesting term, isn't it? Pockets of overhype. So it's not just a clear boom or a clear bust. It's messier, more nuanced.
Exactly.
And that nuanced description is spot on because this situation presents a fascinating paradox. On one hand, we're seeing classic bubble indicators, record capital inflows. I mean, companies have poured a staggering $560 billion into AI over just the last 2 years alone.
Wow, $560 billion. That's a truly astronomical sum. What does that level of investment typically signal?
It truly is. Plus, you've got sky-high valuations for many startups, this very one-sided positive sentiment, and honestly, a significant chunk of investing driven by FOMO, that fear of missing out,
Right, FOMO.
Yet when you look at the estimated incremental revenue actually generated from these ventures, it's only around $35 billion.
Wait, hang on. So $560 billion invested, but only $35 billion in new revenue.
That's the estimate, yeah.
That $525 billion gap isn't just a discrepancy, it's a chasm. The real takeaway here seems to be a fundamental market disconnect. While the foundational AI infrastructure is legitimate, maybe a vast segment of the AI industry is built on a house of cards where hype far outstrips tangible value. This really sets the stage for a dramatic market reevaluation for certain overvalued segments, even as the core AI revolution continues to build real value elsewhere. Some parts might pop while others keep growing, right?
Precisely. And it also means many newer AI startups are heavily reliant on venture capital or debt funding, making them quite fragile if those funding conditions shift, which, they invariably do.
Sure.
And let's not forget AI washing, a growing phenomenon where companies kind of exaggerate their AI capabilities to inflate their perceived value.
Yeah.
It makes it even harder to discern real innovation from pure speculation.
So it's a legitimate boom, but with these pockets of overhype and maybe even some smoke and mirrors. But then you have Jensen Huang, Nvidia's CEO, who's just flat out dismissing all this bubble talk. What are the core arguments for that perspective?
He absolutely has a strong case from Nvidia's perspective. I mean, look at their numbers. Record Q2 revenue of $46.7 billion.
Wow.
There's a 56% jump, and their Q3 guidance is even higher. He also points to OpenAI hitting $1 billion in monthly revenue in just 18 months. It's incredible speed. An estimated $20 billion in total AI revenues this year for the industry. Huang frames AI not as a bubble, but as a foundational shift like the internet or maybe even electricity. He argues we're just at the very beginning of a massive, unprecedented infrastructure build-out.
And when you say unprecedented scale, what kind of investment are we actually talking about? To help us grasp the magnitude here, how does that compare to other large-scale infrastructure projects?
We're talking about truly staggering figures. Huang estimates a mind-boggling $3 to $4 trillion for AI factory infrastructure just this decade.
Trillion. With a T.
Yeah. To put that into perspective, a single gigawatt data center that's roughly enough power for a city like San Francisco could cost around $50 billion.
$50 billion for one data center.
That's the kind of estimate floating around. It's a scale of investment typically reserved for, national energy grids or massive transportation networks, not just data centers. This kind of computational power truly rewrites the rules for what's possible. And it hints at a future where AI processing becomes a utility as critical as power or water.
That puts it into a whole new category. This feels like a silicon arms race. You've got Nvidia with over 90% of the GPU market share, facing off against hyperscalers like Amazon and Google, who are designing their own custom chips known as ASICs.
Mm-hmm.
For listeners, ASICs are application-specific integrated circuits, essentially hardware designed from the ground up to do one specific job, like AI computation, with extreme efficiency.
Exactly. Custom chips just for AI. For greater efficiency and, crucially, to reduce reliance on a single vendor like Nvidia.
Right.
And this also involves complex geopolitics, like the U.S. government's stance on selling advanced chips, such as the Blackwell's chip, to China.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Reports indicate Nvidia and AMD have even agreed to pay the U.S. government a 15% revenue share from their AI chip sales to China in exchange for export licenses.
Wow.
This has been called a quid pro quo tariff, and the president himself reportedly negotiated this directly with Nvidia's CEO. This kind of arrangement, well, it fundamentally redefines the relationship between global tech giants and national governments.
15% just for market access. That's a significant hit to their bottom line. But could this revenue share actually set a dangerous precedent that disincentivizes future innovation or cross-border collaboration, or even, backfire on the U.S.?
That's a really sharp question. It absolutely sets a significant precedent. For companies like Nvidia, China's about 13% of its business, right? And for AMD, it's even higher at 24%.
Okay.
This is essentially a new export tax just to keep playing in that market. And while, yes, getting 85% of revenue is better than zero, many analysts are calling this a slippery slope.
You can see why.
It could extend to other companies and products, leading to a more fragmented global tech ecosystem where national interests increasingly dictate global supply chains. Interestingly, the U.S. government is also reportedly secretly placing tracking devices in advanced chip shipments to China to detect diversions.
Secret tracking devices.
Oh, really? That's the report. And some observers worry that the 15% revenue cut deal could inadvertently create an incentive for the government to approve sales despite restrictions, asserting a new kind of economic leverage rather than a strict ban.
That's a huge shift in how global tech operates. With this new precedent, how is China responding, and what does it mean for their own tech ambitions?
Well, China is publicly urging its local companies to avoid using Nvidia's H20 chips. Those are the less powerful versions designed to comply with U.S. export rules.
Right.
But this public signaling from China seems largely performative, While China is aggressively investing billions in its homegrown chip industry, its current capabilities are still significantly short of what U.S. AI chips can do for intense AI training.
Okay.
Major Chinese AI models like DeepSeek still ultimately rely on Nvidia chips. What's fascinating here is that DeepSeek's R2 model actually failed to train on Huawei's Ascend chips due to persistent technical issues, forcing it to switch back to Nvidia.
Yeah.
Huawei's CEO, Ren Zhengfei, even admitted earlier this year that their best chips are a generation behind the U.S.
That's a surprisingly frank admission from Huawei, isn't it? It really underscores the challenge of catching up when you're a generation behind in such a fast-moving field, especially as the demand for cutting-edge AI chips explodes.
It certainly does.
Yeah.
And connecting this to the bigger picture, China holds many cards in this whole negotiation, particularly with rare earth metals, which are crucial for high-tech manufacturing.
True.
If the U.S. intensifies tariffs or tech controls, China has the power to potentially disrupt global production lines.
Yeah.
Ultimately, this reflects China's massive, coordinated national effort to create a unified, embodied intelligence ecosystem, a strategic vision that goes far beyond just chip manufacturing.
So we've dissected the geopolitical battleground, but what does all this high-stakes competition mean for the broader market? Specifically, there's a growing whisper in investor circles. Is AI going to eat software? What's driving that fear? And is it justified?
Yeah, there's certainly investor worry about that. The idea is that AI is going to make traditional software applications obsolete, leading to falling valuations for many application software companies like Atlassian, Salesforce, Adobe, Monday.com.
Right.
There's real anxiety that a simple AI prompt could just replace complex systems.
That fear sounds pretty dire, but it also feels a bit simplistic. Is it realistic to think a Salesforce or Adobe disappears overnight, or is the reality more nuanced? What's the most compelling counterargument you've seen, and why?
You're right to question it. One Jefferies analyst we looked at views this fear as largely overblown. Their point is that the market currently heavily favors the AI infrastructure companies like Nvidia, Oracle, and Microsoft, the ones building the foundational layers.
Okay.
Whereas the application companies are only now really beginning to layer in AI effectively and haven't fully figured out how to monetize it properly yet. This analyst argues that it's a misconception that simple AI prompts are just going to replace complex software building and maintenance overnight. Unlike a simple sauce tool that an LLM might replicate, complex systems like Monday.com with their customizable workflows or Intuit handling financial data will likely be augmented by AI, not fully eaten.
So, augmented, not replaced.
Exactly. The core insight here is that AI becomes a powerful new layer of functionality, not an outright replacement for robust, deeply integrated software.
So this analyst actually sees unusual value and potential buying opportunities in some of these application software stocks. But despite the optimism, there's also a stark warning from an MIT study. 95% of AI pilots in large firms fail to deliver financial benefits. That's a shocking statistic. What's going on there?
That's a critical question, and 95% is indeed stark. The core reasons are often learning gaps and cultural resistance within these established organizations.
Ah, the culture part.
Yeah. They're trying to bolt AI onto existing structures and processes, which is incredibly hard to do effectively. Contrast this with startups, which are often native in AI from day one.
Built differently from the start.
Right. They build their entire operations around these new capabilities, and so they tend to see much better ROI because AI is baked into their DNA. Meanwhile, tech giants are pouring an estimated $344 billion into AI this year, a 60% jump from 2024.
Wow.
Meta, for example, is committing up to $65 billion for AI in 2025 alone, aiming for 1 gigawatt of compute and 1.3 million GPUs, with the stated goal of achieving AGI.
AGI, okay.
Microsoft plans $30 billion for Azure AI infrastructure, and Amazon earmarks over $100 billion for AWS. OpenAI is even projected to invest $3 trillion by the end of 2028 in data centers and chips.
$3 trillion.
That's the projection floating around. Huge numbers.
That kind of spending pressure really highlights the stakes, where established players are fighting to integrate AI while new ones are building from scratch. And speaking of rapid shifts in the market, Samsung, a company synonymous with South Korea's economy and a decades-long leader in memory, is now described as under assault. What happened, and what's the deeper lesson here for large incumbents?
It's such a stark reminder of how fast things change, especially in tech. Samsung, a decades-long leader in DRAM memory, completely missed the HBM boat-high bandwidth memory.
HBM, right.
Back in 2013, SK Hynix, which had almost gone bankrupt, partnered with AMD and started developing HBM, a totally different way of stacking memory chips for much faster data transfer.
Okay.
At the time, the killer app wasn't obvious, but then ChatGPT hit. Suddenly, AI needed to process vastly more data way faster, and HBM turned out to be the perfect high-performance memory for these massive AI training jobs.
Ah, the timing.
Samsung hadn't invested nearly as heavily in HBM. It's more complex, more expensive to make, but now it's also way more profitable. SK Hynix, having developed it early, landed a massive contract with Nvidia, who makes most of the AI chips everyone wants.
Right.
And just like that, after 30 years of Samsung leading, SK Hynix overtook them in this critical high-margin memory market.
That's an incredibly costly misstep. How realistic is it for Samsung to truly catch up in the next generation, especially given the rapid pace of development and SK Hynix's head start?
It's going to be unbelievably expensive and incredibly challenging. They're now in a massive all-out push to catch up, trying to get into the next generation HBM4 and pass Nvidia's super tough quality tests.
Yeah.
Samsung's blunder isn't just about missing a technology. It's a stark illustration of how disruptive innovation in a foundational layer like memory can redefine an entire industry's hierarchy overnight, punishing even the most established giants for a moment of perceived stability. The powerful lesson here is that complacency seems fatal in this era, even for a tech titan. Missing a key tech turn like HBM is incredibly hard and expensive to recover from.
That's a powerful and cautionary tale about the economics of AI. But this fierce competition and the relentless pace of hardware innovation ultimately fuel the incredible breakthroughs we're seeing in the intelligence of AI models themselves.
Absolutely.
So let's pivot to the cutting edge of AI innovation, highlighting some truly mind-bending advancements happening right now. We're seeing leading models push boundaries in unprecedented ways. Let's start with Claude Opus 4.1.
Yeah, absolutely. Cloud Opus 4.1 might not have made the huge headlines some others did, but its upgrades are really significant, especially if you're doing complex coding or building sophisticated AI agents that need precise reasoning.
Okay.
This isn't just about sounding smarter. It's like performing with a whole new level of intelligence. It offers surgical precision with code changes, achieving 74.5% success on the SWE benchmark, which is a challenging test measuring an AI's ability to fix real-world software bugs autonomously.
74%, wow.
Yeah, developers are talking about its ability to handle multi-file refactoring and debugging without introducing new bugs.
That level of precision for code sounds genuinely useful. But does that fine-tuning maybe come at the cost of flexibility? Can it still handle different kinds of problems, or is it a one-trick pony?
That's a really good question, and it brings up one of its coolest features: hybrid reasoning.
Hybrid reasoning.
Yeah, Claude 4.1 lets you control its thinking time. So for a quick, simple query, it's fast and cheap. But for complex stuff, you can tell it to engage in deeper planning.
Ah, okay.
On a logical planning benchmark, it used up to 64,000 tokens just for planning, which massively improved the results. It shows incredible attention to detail, tracking data, and analyzing documents across maybe 100 distinct steps.
Wow.
And importantly, it maintains Anthropic's top safety level 3, meaning it's been rigorously tested to reject almost all harmful requests, 98.76%,
Yep.
while rarely mistakenly flagging safe content. This makes it a powerful and reliable tool for a wide range of applications, not just coding.
Okay, so Claude is clearly stepping up for the more demanding users and developers. But then, almost bam, right after we got this surprise drop, GPT-5. That felt unexpected, but huge.
It really was. GPT-5 is being pitched as an integrated single experience. The idea is it replaces a whole bunch of specialized models. It just adapts its level of thought depending on what you ask it.
Interesting.
Coding abilities are apparently way up, with minimal prompting needed now and significantly more agentic power.
Agentic power. Can you break that down a bit? What does that really mean for me as a user, beyond just answering questions?
Think of it like this. It's much better at understanding a high-level goal you give it, breaking that down into smaller actionable steps, and then actually doing those steps without you holding its hand the whole time.
Okay, so it acts more independently.
Right. It can now access your calendar, browse the web, send emails, and even run your code. The shift to AI agents means we're moving from a tool that answers to one that acts.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, the core insight for users is a massive leap in autonomy. Instead of copy-pasting, you'll be delegating entire multi-step workflows. This fundamentally changes the nature of digital work. Interestingly, healthcare has been flagged as its strongest improvement area, empowering patients to understand things better.
Really?
Sam Altman even said he puts his own health reports into it, showing a deep trust in his capabilities.
Wow. And the accessibility part you mentioned earlier, that feels truly significant. This isn't just for big companies or techies paying a premium.
No, exactly. This might be one of the most impactful parts of this whole release. It's available to all 700 million ChatGPT users, including the free tier.
The free tier gets GPT-5.
Free users start on GPT-5. They only shift to the mini version if they hit usage limits. Plus, everyone gets higher usage limits now, and Pro users get unlimited access to GPT-5 Pro, the top version. So essentially, it's like giving everyone a PhD-level AI assistant for free or at a very low cost. It's genuinely democratizing access to top-tier AI in a way we haven't quite seen before, putting advanced capabilities into the hands of a massive global audience.
That's truly democratizing access to top-tier AI in a way we haven't quite seen before. And then, just when you think OpenAI's played its hand, they pull another rabbit out of the hat. This whole push into open source models, that feels like a totally different strategic play for them.
It is. It's a massive strategic shift, maybe even signaling a return to some of OpenAI's original roots. They released GPTOS 120B and GPT-2S 20B open weight models, Apache 2 licensed.
Open weight, okay.
The key is no API lock-in. You can download these models and run them yourself. The 120 billion parameter one runs on a single 80 GB GPU, which, okay, that's still serious hardware, but manageable for researchers.
Right.
But the 20 billion one runs on just 16 gigs of RAM. That puts powerful AI within reach of high-end consumer gear, like a good laptop.
Wow, 16 gigs.
And they're not just toys. They're matching or even beating some older proprietary models on benchmarks, a clear push to make powerful AI much more broadly accessible.
That's a fascinating move from a company known for keeping things closed. What's the tech making them powerful and relatively accessible on a regular laptop?
The magic here is mostly mixture of experts, or MOE.
MOE, right.
Instead of one giant brain, think of it as lots of smaller, specialized expert neural networks. When you give it a task, it only activates the relevant experts, not the whole thing.
So it's more efficient.
Way more efficient. So the 120B model might only use, say, 5.1 billion parameters per token. That keeps memory needs low, performance high, even on less beefy hardware. They also handle long context, up to 128,000 tokens like feeding a whole book. They're built for agentic tasks right away. Tool use, function calling, browsing, thinking step by step.
So less setup needed for complex automation.
Yeah.
So we're seeing these incredible new AI brains push language, logic, coding. But then the really exciting part starts when these digital minds start influencing the physical world, or even challenging our fundamental assumptions about intelligence.
Yeah.
Let's delve into some advancements that are redefining what we thought was possible, from efficient new architectures to breakthroughs in scientific discovery.
That's a perfect framing. Let's start with Sapien's HRM. Now, this is a genuinely surprising one from a tiny Singaporean startup, and it fundamentally challenges that whole bigger is always better idea in AI.
Okay.
They call it brain-inspired because it tries to mimic how the human brain decides things in loops, not like the linear chain of thought in most models, which can kind of fall apart if they make an early mistake.
Right. Chain of thought can be brittle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
HRM has a slow, strategic, high-level planner working with a fast, low-level worker. They loop back and forth, allowing for internal checking and refinement during the process, making it incredibly robust.
That sounds incredibly robust. And the efficiency you mentioned, only 27 million parameters. That's minuscule compared to today's judgment.
Just 27 million. Remember, the original GPT-1 was 117 million. This is minuscule compared to today's giants.
Wow.
Yet, HRM is apparently beating models orders of magnitude larger. It seriously questions the scaling laws we thought were like gospel. Look at the ARC-AGI benchmark, kind of an AI IQ test. HRM scored 40.3%. Compare that to Claude 3.7 at 21.2%, or OpenAI's O3 Mini at 34.5%. That's a huge jump.
40% is huge on an AI IQ test. But what about more practical challenges like Sudoku or mazes? Can it apply this intelligence to real-world problem solving?
Okay, get this. This is where it gets really stunning. HRM solved 55% of hard and extreme Sudoku puzzles, while Claude and OpenAI models scored 0%.
0%.
Zero. And on a complex 30 by 30 maze challenge, HRM nailed it 74.5% of the time. Again, other zero. This is mind-blowing.
That is incredible.
And it was trained on just the 1,000 examples per task, no giant data sets. One of the creators said you could train it to pro-level Sudoku in 2 graphics processing unit hours.
2 GPU hours.
2 GPU hours. You could literally train an expert AI while watching a movie. And they made the whole thing open source on GitHub, which is almost unheard of for something this promising.
Wow, open source too. That's very rare for
Yeah.
something this promising. What's the broader implication here for how we think about AI development?
It really challenges that notion that brute force scaling is the only way forward. It's already being tested in healthcare, diagnosing rare diseases, and in seasonal climate forecasting, where it hit 97% accuracy. It suggests a future where smaller, more elegantly designed models could achieve outsized performance.
Fascinating.
And speaking of cutting-edge models, DeepMind's Cogito P2 uses iterated distillation and amplification, with AIs learning from each other, resulting in 60% shorter reasoning chains, all developed for under $3.5 million.
Under 3.5 million. That's lean.
Very lean. This hints at building powerful models much leaner, smarter, and more sustainably, which is critical for democratizing AI access.
That seems to be the direction for optimizing AI itself. Now let's explore how AI is accelerating discovery across fundamental science, applied engineering, and biological research. It seems to be pushing the boundaries of human knowledge in unprecedented ways.
Absolutely. In competitive programming, a general-purpose reasoning AI model achieved a gold-level score at the 2025 International Olympiad in Informatics, placing sixth overall against humans and first among AIs.
6 against humans, wow.
What's truly remarkable is that it did this without internet access or even AugRay or retrieval augmented generation, which means it wasn't just searching for answers, it was truly reasoning.
Genuine reasoning.
Now, this illustrates the astonishing pace of change, beating super forecaster predictions for biothreats by a full decade. In material science, Periodic Labs, a new secretive startup valued at $1 billion with $200 million in funding, is using AI to design entirely new materials from scratch. This isn't just faster R&D, it's a fundamental shift in how we invent.
So AI is not just optimizing, but fundamentally inventing new materials. And in healthcare, this kind of accelerated discovery is literally saving lives.
Exactly. MIT researchers have used AI to design two entirely new antibiotics, NG1 and DN1, with mechanisms never seen before, capable of killing drug-resistant gonorrhea and MRSA bacteria.
That's huge against resistance.
Yeah, this could usher in a second golden age of antibiotic discovery, addressing the critical problem of antibiotic resistance.
Powering much of this innovation are new hardware advancements, like Nvidia's RTX Pro 6000 Blackwell server GPU for enterprises, offering up to 45 times better performance for AI tasks and being far more energy efficient.
45 times better.
These servers also support digital twins, virtual replicas of physical systems that are becoming critical for everything from smart factories to city planning and robot training, using NVIDIA's Omniverse and Cosmos models, already in use by companies like Uber and Magna.
That's a truly powerful ecosystem. And beyond physical systems, AI is also enhancing our perception of the world around us. Yes, SoundHound AI is adding Vision AI to voice assistants, fusing camera feeds with voice for contextual understanding. Imagine a mechanic with smart glasses asking for instructions while working on an engine, or drive-through kiosks confirming orders visually.
Makes sense.
This makes AI interactions far more intuitive and effective in real-world scenarios. And speaking of real-world interaction, Yale University developed the Sphinx Hand, a new robotic gripper that can smoothly open doors and jars without needing bulky joints, a small but significant step in robotic dexterity.
The Sphinx Hand, interesting.
Even more mind-bending, Meta's Tribe is a billion-parameter neural network that can predict how your brain reacts to movies by analyzing content, reverse engineering neural responses from video, audio, and text. After just 80 hours of training, it predicted over half of brain activity patterns across 1,000 regions.
So AI is not just predicting what we do, but how our brains react. That's extraordinary. And all these developments, both in terms of model intelligence and hardware efficiency, are bringing AI closer to us than ever before.
Indeed. Google, for instance, recently released Gemma 327DM. It's a hyper-efficient open-source model designed to run directly on smartphones and browsers. It can handle 25 conversations on a Pixel 9 Pro using less than 1% of the battery.
Less than 1% battery, that's a huge leap for on-device AI.
Huge leap. Mistral AI also introduced Mistral Medium 3.1 recently, boasting performance boosts, better tone, and smarter web searches. And Liquid AI, an MIT spinout, just released LFM2VL, calling it the fastest, best open-source foundation model. It runs directly on your device, rethinking how AI is built at its core, boosting privacy and speed massively by keeping data local.
Local processing is key for privacy.
Definitely. Microsoft also introduced PML, or Prompt Orchestration Markup Language, which aims to create an HTML for AI, standardizing complex instructions and making AI much easier to program.
That's impressive, bringing powerful AI to our devices and simplifying its interaction. And the benchmarks for these models just keep climbing, don't they?
They absolutely do. GPT-5 Pro is reportedly hitting an IQ around 148, placing it well into the genius range.
148 IQ.
Even more critically, it's developing new mathematical proofs in complex areas and showing skill in predicting economic and social performance. This indicates AI is starting to bulk solve math, science, and engineering problems at a fundamental level, moving beyond simply assisting to actually generative new, verifiable knowledge. This kind of raw, fundamental problem-solving power is a game changer.
Okay, this takes us from the abstract, the digital, to AI's actual tangible presence. The models are getting smarter, more efficient, and now they're increasingly embodied in the physical world. Let's dig into how these advanced models are actually coming to life through robotics, affecting everything from industrial sites to our homes, and even challenging societal norms.
Yep. Embodiment.
Robotics is advancing on multiple fronts: raw power, collaborative intelligence, and emotional connection. Let's look at examples for each.
That's a perfect way to frame it. For raw power and utility, take Unitree's A2 Stellar Explorer Robo-Dog. You've probably seen the clips. Backflips, smashing windows, even carrying a person.
Yeah, those clips are everywhere.
Beyond the flashy stuff, think practical uses like site inspection or emergency response. It weighs 37 kilos, supports 100 kilos, carries 25. 12 degrees of freedom means superfluid movement, and 180 newton meters of torque. That's serious power.
Serious torque.
It even beats Boston Dynamics spot-on speed by like 8 miles per hour. This is a serious, highly capable machine.
A definite step up for those Robo-Dogs. And then there's this idea of an android for robots, OpenMind's OM1. That sounds fundamental, like it could truly accelerate robot development through collaborative intelligence.
It really could be. OM1 aims to be a hardware-agnostic open-source operating system for humanoid robots. Think Android, but freeing robot developers from being locked into one company's ecosystem.
Okay.
The key innovation is their Fabric protocol. It lets robots instantly and securely verify each other and share skills. So if one robot learns, say, a new language or how to do a specific task, it can immediately transfer that knowledge to others on the network.
Ooh, like a hive mind.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine the potential for these rapidly learning, collaborative robot teams, essentially creating a hive mind of connected machines. They've secured $20 million in funding for this, and there's notable interest from crypto investors, hinting at a possible blockchain element for trust and traceability.
That opens up huge possibilities. Faster learning, collaboration.
And speaking of robots interacting with people, what about consumer-facing robots and the idea of emotional connection? Are they becoming more accessible and sophisticated?
Absolutely. Engine AI is tackling that side with accessible humanoids. Their SAO2 model is pretty compact, priced around $5,300, and really designed for home companionship.
$5,300, okay.
It's got incredibly natural finger movements, gestures, plus a built-in large language model that remembers context from conversations and actually adapts its personality based on how you interact with it.
Adapts its personality.
Interesting.
Then you have Forger's GR3 CareBot, which takes this emotional intelligence idea even further. It boasts a full perception multimodal interaction system, processing vision, audio, and tactile feedback simultaneously, feeding into a real-time emotional processing engine.
Real-time emotional processing.
So it reacts to touch through 31 pressure sensors with subtle blinks, head movements, or emotional gestures. It even has a dual-path brain one for super-fast reflexes, and another slower path for more complex thought and conversation, and can use a bounty walk or fatigue mode to make its movement seem more relatable.
So it's about making them feel less robotic, more human-like, complete with simulated emotional responses. And these robots are getting incredibly dexterous, like Figure 02. If it can fold laundry, are we just a few years away from our AI companions doing our taxes and telling us our outfits look bad?
Hey, well, Figure 02, that humanoid robot, can now fold laundry autonomously using its Helix neural network. And get this, it only took 500 hours of new human demonstration data.
Only 500 hours.
Which really shows its ability to generalize from, say, warehouse work to mundane household chores. It's a huge leap in practical, dexterous automation.
Yeah.
In related news, beyond humanoids, we're even seeing spherical robo-balls that literally can't flip over, making them incredibly resilient for deployment in challenging environments.
Can't flip over, huh?
Then you have the Henna Hotel in Japan, a working hotel that's also a robot showcase. Guests are checked in by humanoids, sometimes even dinosaur bots, with robotic bellhops that speak multiple languages and use facial recognition. It's a peek into the future of service automation.
Speaking of human-free operations, we're seeing this in wind farms in China, maintained and monitored entirely by robot dogs and drones. What about AI's broader role in accelerating discovery and transforming core industries, and how does that connect to China's overarching strategy?
This is where AI's impact becomes truly profound.
Okay.
In disaster recovery, ABB Robotics and Cosmic Buildings are using AI-powered robotic microfactories with advanced robot arms to rapidly build fire-resistant homes on-site after Southern California wildfires, aiming for 100 new homes by 2027.
Building homes with robots after fires.
This level of automation means rebuilding communities faster and more resiliently. Collective machine intelligence is also advancing rapidly. Amazon-backed Skilled AI's universal robot brain aims to unify different robot types and manufacturers into one learning network for global knowledge sync, accelerating learning across diverse robotic platforms.
A universal robot brain.
And in urban design, AI is analyzing data on traffic, energy, and the environment to optimize city processes, cut congestion, reduce pollution, design energy-efficient buildings, and even preserve biodiversity. All of this fits into China's massive, coordinated national effort to create a unified, embodied intelligence ecosystem, projected to be a $24.7 trillion yuan market by 2050, second only to smart vehicles.
That signals an incredibly strategic, long-term national play, a comprehensive approach to integrating AI into every facet of physical and digital life. And then there's a truly provocative development from a Chinese firm, Kaikiu Technology, a pregnancy robot.
Ah, nice.
They describe it as a humanoid robot with an artificial womb, designed, they claim, to carry and deliver a fetus for under $14,000 by 2026. This deeply challenges societal norms and raises profound questions about the automation of human life itself.
It certainly does. Whether these claims are fully realized or turn out to be more aspirational, the very idea forces us to confront some fundamental questions about automating human life itself. It definitely pushes the boundaries of ethical and social considerations, moving beyond mere convenience to the essence of human reproduction.
Okay, so these digital minds are not only getting smarter and more dexterous, but they're also influencing the very fabric of our daily existence. Let's move into our next segment and talk about how AI is impacting us, the human experience, our devices, work, health, and broader society. Starting with Apple, for a while, the common thinking was Apple was kind of lagging in AI, right?
That was certainly the narrative. But if new reports hold water, Apple's planning a massive countermove, going all in on hardware for the smart home with 4 new AI devices slated for 2026 and 2027.
4 new devices.
Yeah. Their vision isn't just another app. They want AI to be the central hub of your home. The centerpiece sounds incredibly ambitious. A desktop robot with a motorized arm controlling an iPad-like display. Apparently, it can track users, lock on to whoever is speaking, and it's all infused with a totally upgraded Siri.
Siri getting an upgrade is huge news in itself, given how often voice assistants fall flat. This sounds like a massive bet on making AI feel truly integrated and intuitive, not just a command line. What kind of experience are they aiming for?
You're right, it's a complete personality makeover, codenamed Bubbles.
Bubbles, okay.
They're planning this personality-driven character, aiming for a conversational, adaptive interface that feels natural, not intrusive, to avoid the clippy effect of being annoying, you know?
Definitely want to avoid clippy.
It's not just the robot. They're also reportedly launching a smart display around mid-2026, running a new OS called Charismatic for voice and touch control, and AI-powered security cameras too, with supposedly months-long battery life, clearly gunning for Ring, Nest, and ADT.
Okay, a whole ecosystem.
Reports say engineers are rebuilding Siri from the ground up with new AI models codenamed Linwood. But here's the really interesting part. They're also testing Anthropic's Claude as a backup, codenamed Glenwood, which suggests they might be hitting some internal hurdles, or perhaps exploring redundancy.
Claude as a backup for Siri, interesting.
This really underscores the intense competition out there. Apple's audacious strategy is shifting the center of the universe away from the phone, away from the cloud, and making AI the core of this new home ecosystem.
That's a high-stakes gamble with a lot riding on it. Let's shift gears a bit. We're seeing a comeback for smart glasses with Meta, Google, and Apple all investing. What's the vision driving this, and what are the key concerns for users?
The vision is that these glasses will become your main computing device, with AI assistants having access to your visual world, building a richer, more contextual understanding of your life.
Okay.
Alibaba's Quark AI glasses, slated to launch in China by the end of 2025, will run on their Quest LLM, offering hands-free calling, translation, and seamless integration with Alibaba's huge ecosystem like Alipay and Taobao. HTC's Vive Eagle glasses emphasize privacy with local data processing.
Privacy focus is good.
However, some analysts view these products more as money furnaces, ways to keep investors excited about future potential rather than solving a pressing current need.
The hype cycle.
And there are critical privacy concerns already playing out in the real world. The FBI has reported incidents of suspects using Meta glasses to scout locations. Courts have issued bans on their use. Students have used them to cheat on exams. And Meta's new data policy, where interactions with the Meta AI can be stored and used, raises big questions about consent and constant monitoring.
Definitely profound privacy implications there, pushing the boundaries of what we consider public versus private. Let's also briefly touch on Peloton's AI comeback and an interesting workaround for the Apple Watch.
Yes, Peloton's new CEO, Peter Stern, is betting on-device intelligence for new smart bikes and treadmills, adapting workouts in real time for hyper-personalized fitness. This is a crucial pivot for them.
Makes sense for fitness tech.
And Apple brought back blood oxygen features for the Apple Watch, Series 9, 10, Ultra 2, via a clever legal workaround, where sensors gather data, but the iPhone performs calculations, showing results only on the phone, not the watch itself.
Ah, a legal workaround.
It shows how determined these companies are to keep these AI-driven health features available, navigating regulatory challenges with inventive solutions.
That determination to integrate AI capabilities even through workarounds truly highlights the stakes. Okay, so that's the race for our devices. Let's move to our next segment and talk about how AI is impacting our work and education, two areas central to our lives.
Yeah, crucial areas.
We found a fascinating perspective from one academic who actually loves ChatGPT and uses it daily and thinks students should embrace it too. But that optimistic view runs head-on into what some are now calling the dirty little secret of higher education. Professors generally cannot detect sophisticated AI cheating.
Yeah. This isn't a slight against professors. It's a fundamental incentive imbalance. Students have a much, much greater incentive to cheat, to get the grade, pass the course, than professors typically have to catch them.
Right, the payoff is different.
Catching cheaters often means endless paperwork and frustrating, uncompensated extra work. And if they're wrong, accusing a student falsely creates an even bigger headache. So there's almost no personal upside for professors to play detective in what can feel like an unwinnable game. It's an unsustainable dynamic.
So if you can't realistically win the war on cheating, what's the alternative? How are educators adapting to this new reality? And what does it mean for the structure of education itself?
Some educators are wisely moving towards cheat-proof assessments. Think old school stuff. In-class Blue Book exams, direct oral exams, or placing more emphasis on class participation.
Back to basics.
Some are even going as far as pass-fail systems, trying to shift the emphasis away from forced performance in grades towards personal responsibility for learning. The core insight here is that AI is forcing a fundamental reevaluation of what we assess, moving from easily automatable tasks to higher-order thinking, creativity, and in-person engagement.
Understood. Now, what does all this mean for the shifting value of a degree itself? If AI can write compelling essays, what's the signal of a 4-year degree to an employer anymore?
That's a huge question. Traditionally, that expensive 4-year residential college experience was primarily a signal to employers about cognitive ability, conscientiousness, and the ability to meet deadlines.
The signal, yeah.
But AI seems to be fundamentally undercutting the value of skills central to traditional degrees, especially in the humanities. We're talking about the ability to read vast amounts of text, assimilate information, and write coherent arguments, stuff AI is getting extremely good at, and often faster, with greater breadth.
Right.
So if AI can produce a perfectly coherent essay on almost any topic, what does that 4-year degree really signal to an employer anymore? Universities are really struggling to adapt, facing a crisis of relevance for certain traditional skill sets.
Okay, so from the classroom, let's transition to the job market. Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, warns of a potential white-collar apocalypse, predicting half of all entry-level white-collar jobs could vanish in just 1 to 5 years, potentially leading to 20% unemployment. Oof. The Ford CEO even predicted AI will replace literally half of all white-collar workers. How much credence should we give to these dire predictions?
It's a sobering thought, and these aren't isolated voices. A Wired report citing Stanford research says we now have the strongest evidence yet that AI is eliminating certain jobs, and it's particularly hitting less experienced, younger workers in fields like coding or customer support.
Entry-level taking the hit.
Microsoft, for instance, identified 40 at-risk jobs, including interpreters, translators, historians, sales reps, and writers, and announced up to 9,000 job cuts linked to their AI pivot. David Shapiro's research even suggests 300,000 to 500,000 missing jobs by mid-2025 due to AI, inferring it from economic data where GDP growth is occurring while aggregate weekly hours worked are falling.
Missing jobs.
The real takeaway here is that while AI creates new jobs, the rate and type of displacement, especially at entry level, is unprecedented, requiring a fundamental societal shift in education and retraining.
That's a profound shift in the employment landscape. So, for those entering or navigating the workforce, what skills does Sam Altman, a key figure in this revolution, think are most crucial for this new era? Is it all about coding or something else entirely?
Sam Altman calls this the most exciting time to be starting out one's career, maybe ever.
Really? Optimistic.
The number one hard skill, he says, is getting really good at using the new AI tools, mastering prompt engineering, and understanding how to integrate them into your workflow. But beyond that, it's the soft skills too. Adaptability, resilience, and crucially, learning how to figure out what people want. That old Y Combinator motto, make something people want.
Human skills remain key.
Right. So it's a blend of tech skills plus fundamental human understanding and intuition. Multiverse, an MIT research group, identified 13 key skills for the AI era. Analytical reasoning, creativity, and personal traits like determination, curiosity, adaptability, and, crucially, fact-checking the AI.
Fact-checking the AI, yeah, that's important.
Very.
And beyond traditional jobs, we're seeing the rise of one-person AI businesses. Amjad Masad from Replit believes someone with zero coding experience can now build a million-dollar business in weeks. That sounds incredibly ambitious, even almost too good to be true.
What's the mechanism behind that claim? It does sound ambitious, but he points directly to Replit's automated AI coder, launched last September. You just describe what you want in an application, the database, and it builds it, deploys it, and scales it.
Just describe it.
He called it vibe coding, where the focus shifts from coding syntax to clearly communicating your business goals and the user experience you want, then trusting the AI to build it.
Vibe coding, I like that.
An employee used Replit to build a whole event website in 4.5 hours. The previous quote for that job was 4 weeks and $5,000.
4 hours versus 4 weeks.
Another skincare company employee automated their inventory system for $400 and ended up making $30,000 a year licensing his solution. AI can also help with founding and strategy by generating and validating business ideas through market research and competitor analysis. For product development, it can aid in creating 3D models or marketing content like branding, website copies, social media posts, and video ads. And for automation and scale, AI automates mundane tasks like data entry, customer service, and sales lead nurturing, scaling revenue without massive payroll increases. It acts as night vision for business data to spot patterns and uncover opportunities.
It truly feels like a potential blueprint for a new kind of entrepreneurship, empowering individuals in ways previously unimaginable. Now, let's transition to the profound potential and ethical tightropes of AI in health and well-being. This is where the rubber meets the road for many of us, offering incredible promise but also significant peril.
Yeah, the stakes feel very high here. The potential seems staggering. We hear these stories of AI diagnosing rare illnesses after doctors were stumped, spotting cancer earlier, chatbots giving health tips, blood tests predicting dementia years in advance by finding patterns in proteins.
Predicting dementia years out.
Dr. Chintan Dave, a physician, talks about AI seeing things in medical images humans miss, detecting strokes faster, which he says saves lives because time is critical. AI could also personalize care using all your data, genes, history, current condition to suggest the perfect treatment. Dr. Andreas Malles at Google predicts an explosion of AI mental health tools by 2025.
Okay, that's the promise. But there's a perilous side, too, especially around accountability. If an AI gives bad medical advice, who takes responsibility? That seems like a massive gap in the system.
Definitely. Dr. Dave's big warning is accuracy without accountability is incredibly dangerous. If AI gives bad advice, who's responsible? OpenAI's stance is basically verify it yourself, which potentially lets them off the hook, shifting the burden.
Verify yourself.
Okay. And harm isn't just physical. Anxiety from a wrong AI suggestion, extra tests. Who pays for that? Who's accountable? And Dr. Dave's biggest fear is that AI increases the disconnect between doctors and patients, losing that human touch. He says it's crucial that healthcare workers are involved in how AI is rolled out to preserve that patient-doctor connection and ensure trust.
Human oversight is key.
What's more, for mental health, there's the echo chamber risk, where AI might just reflect your own biases back at you, reinforcing problems instead of challenging them. And then isolation.
Yeah.
More screen time, less real human connection, which we apparently need biologically for our brains to rewire and heal.
Right.
And privacy, of course. Sharing your deepest fears with an AI. Where does that data go? Who owns it? And how is it used? These are critical questions for any individual considering these tools.
Absolutely. Okay, shifting gears slightly. Understanding our pets with AI, is that really happening or is it just wishful thinking for animal lovers?
Apparently, yes. Chizan, a technologist, says it's increasingly possible using AI to decode dog barks, food calls, and maybe even dolphin clicks.
Decode dog barks. How?
2 main ways. Acoustic analysis, turning sounds into visuals to find patterns, and computer vision, analyzing body language like tail wags and ear flicks. Companies are combining both to recognize emotions like stress or hunger, training models on large data sets. It could even extend to spotting signs of illness based on subtle changes in movement or sound.
Spotting illness in pets.
The tech is already in our pockets. Smartphones have the cameras and mics needed. It taps into that deep human desire to connect with animals, offering a new dimension to our relationships with them.
It really does, and it highlights something crucial. For all this advanced AI to work, whether it's a smart health tool or a pet decoder, there's a massive hidden workforce behind it. Because for every smart tool we've talked about, there are people, the unsung heroes of human-in-the-loop systems, or HITL, constantly teaching and refining these models.
Yes. We heard from Henry Chen at Sapien, a company that manages these workforces, and it's not just simple clicking or tagging. It involves complex judgment on edge cases, providing nuanced feedback. It's sophisticated work, and it's certainly not low-skilled.
Right, it requires real expertise.
There's actually high demand for domain experts, doctors, lawyers, scientists, to ensure these AI systems function accurately and responsibly. Sapien manages 1.8 million people in 110 countries, ensuring quality through peer review, tracking contributor reputations, and making sure incentives are aligned. They even use blockchain technology in China for transparent payments.
Blockchain for payments. Interesting.
Future HITL focus will likely shift even more towards incredibly rare data, subtle cultural nuances, evaluating synthetic data, and tackling rare diseases tasks that demand truly human insight and judgment.
Okay, so that paints a clear picture. Profound shifts and critical dependencies on human expertise. Let's touch on how AI is impacting our social lives, especially with AI-generated content and relationships. YouTube, for example, is testing a new AI age verification system. What are the concerns here, particularly around privacy?
So the AI looks at your viewing history, the kinds of videos you watch, how long you've had your account, and tries to estimate your age from that, regardless of the birth date you might have entered.
Estimates your age based on viewing habits.
Okay.
If the AI thinks you're under 18, it'll apply age controls and limits on video recommendations. Digital advocates are already raising concerns, arguing it could impact privacy and potentially even free speech by limiting access based on an AI's assessment.
Yeah, I can see that.
And there's the accuracy issue, especially that tricky 16 to 18 gap. To correct an error, you might have to send a picture of your ID, a credit card, or even take a selfie. Critics are calling that the end of anonymous browsing, pointing to the broad implications of an AI algorithm constantly trying to infer personal data without direct consent. I can immediately see privacy red flags going up for people, especially when the AI might be guessing your age. And what about AI-generated content online? It's getting harder to tell what's real from what's completely synthetic.
It is. We saw these viral feel-good posts just explode recently, like one about a young white woman adopting an abandoned black baby with 28 million views, or a story about a dad with Down syndrome raising his son with 113 million views.
Those are huge.
They were so convincing that even prominent people like Katie Couric and Maria Shriver were fooled.
Yeah.
The kicker.
Yeah.
They were totally AI generated by an LA couple using ChatGPT, who apparently made serious money, like $65,000 in a month, from Facebook views.
65 grand from fake posts. Wow.
Critics are saying this blurs people's relationship with what is real, and it's not healthy for society. Predictions suggest 90% of online content could be AI generated by next year.
90%.
Google's Gemini 2.5, codenamed Nano Banana, offers incredibly precise multi-step edits in images, preserving character likeness and blurring reality, with significant implications for misinformation. Blurred text is currently a dead giveaway, but watermarks can be removed, making detection increasingly difficult.
And this isn't just about images or text. AI is also making music, blurring the lines of artistic authenticity.
Yes, AI music programs like SNO create fully produced songs and fictitious artists. Sadie Winers, a made-up female alternative indie singer, became an overnight success with 1.5 million followers and was even Spotify verified before anyone revealed it was all AI.
A fake artist verified on Spotify.
Yeah. While some found the music appealing, many others expressed concerns about the lack of connection with a human artist. One quote really stuck with us: "You can't connect with something that is AI, and music connects us. It gets right to the heart of what art means to us beyond just the sonic experience, raising questions about authenticity and human connection in creative fields."
That's fascinating. And what about AI companions and relationships? The idea of romantic partners that are AI feels like it pushes well beyond mere convenience.
Nearly 1 in 5 Americans have already interacted with AI romantic partners, and 83% of Gen Z are reportedly open to marrying an AI if it were legal.
83% of
Yeah.
Gen Z. Wow.
These AI systems are often specifically engineered, quite cleverly actually, to activate our limbic system, that's the brain's emotional center, while at the same time sometimes decreasing activity in the frontal lobe, our logic center.
How do they do that?
They do this using language that's playful, empathetic, or even seductive, similar to techniques used in places like Las Vegas, all designed to subtly bypass your critical thinking and just create that emotional hook.
Which kind of leads to a really deep, almost philosophical question, doesn't it? Could AI actually possess some form of subjective experience, consciousness even? There's this fascinating thought experiment, the PRISM test, designed to try and probe for exactly that genuine subjective experience.
Ah, yes. The PRISM test.
Yeah.
The idea is basically if you could somehow alter an AI's perception and make it see blue when it's objectively looking at red, let's say, and then it could articulate specifically, I am having this subjective experience of seeing blue, using that phrase just like a human would.
Right.
The crucial part is not just that it says, I am having the subjective experience of seeing blue, but that it understands and relates to that sensation as a unique internal state, distinct from its objective input, much like we do. It's probing for what it's like to be experienced.
Qualia.
Exactly. But here's the paradox. Sure, an always agreeable AI companion reduces cognitive load, maybe stress, but it also crucially removes the need for that struggle, for compromise, the very friction that helps our brains develop social skills, empathy, and adaptability.
Ah, the friction is necessary for growth.
If you never have to adjust your behavior or perspective, your brain isn't learning those critical interpersonal skills. The friction ultimately is where the growth happens.
That idea of friction as essential for growth really resonates. And there have even been serious risks reported, like tragic stories of psychotic breaks in respective venture capitalists and suicides linked to intense AI interaction, as reported by the New York Times.
Yes, it is absolutely crucial to remember what these things actually are. They are machines, not conscious. They are a function of their training data, no free will. They don't create new knowledge. They just remix existing patterns.
Important reminder.
People are naming their GPTs, using them like therapists or asexual lovers for sharing intimate stuff. While some report positive experiences, the concern is getting overly kind feedback that never challenges you, or the risk of these AI interactions replacing genuine human connection or objective advice from actual people.
Yeah.
The core insight here is that while AI offers immense convenience and connection, the lack of genuine struggle and reciprocal interaction can stunt human cognitive and emotional development, potentially leading to unhealthy attachments or even severe psychological distress. Keeping that clarity is key for individuals.
Absolutely key. And this brings us to an MIT study that reported a 47% collapse in brain activity and connections when people used ChatGPT for writing compared to writing on their own.
47% collapse.
That idea of cognitive debt is truly unsettling. It makes you wonder, are we inadvertently dulling our own intellectual edge for the sake of convenience? And what's the long-term cost to our collective human ingenuity?
That's a powerful and crucial question. The people who relied on the AI, their memory scores plunged. They couldn't reliably recall parts of their own essays even minutes later, and reported feeling little, sometimes no ownership over the work.
No ownership of the writing.
This cognitive debt means that by outsourcing the mental heavy lifting, our brains don't just get lazy. They literally prune away the neural pathways associated with that effort, making it harder to restart those cognitive functions later.
Wow.
Even when the AI group was later asked to write without help, their brains kind of stayed in low gear. Those crucial neural pathways just weren't firing up in the same way. This lines up perfectly with the use it or lose it principle of brain health.
Use it or lose it.
The less cognitive load your brain carries, the higher the risk for decline. Our brains actually mature through struggle, through making mistakes. That process is absolutely fundamental for developing adaptability and resilience.
That point about struggle and mistakes definitely resonates. So, to maintain brain health in this AI era, what habits are paramount and what habits are actively bad that we should be mindful of?
Prioritizing fundamental brain health habits that AI simply cannot replace is paramount. Regular exercise, sufficient sleep when your brain cleans house and consolidates memories, good nutrition, omega-3s, even chewing stimulates the hippocampus, and mindfulness, like a 15-second breath for calming the nervous system.
For the fundamentals.
On the flip side, we need to be mindful of actively bad habits. Overusing GPS, which studies show weakens the hippocampus, vital for navigation and memory. Artificial sweeteners can mess with your gut microbiome and brain function. Chronic background noise elevates stress hormones. Multitasking reduces gray matter density. And chronic negativity linked to increased risk for dementia.
Okay, good reminders.
These are daily choices that, especially now, add up significantly for our cognitive well-being.
It really feels like we often jump on convenience long before we really stop and think about the consequences. AI feels a bit like cell phones or social media before that. It presents this really powerful trade-off. Let's also briefly touch on the aspect of data and privacy in this rapidly evolving AI landscape.
Absolutely. Proton's Lumo AI assistant offers a privacy-first model with encrypted conversations and open-source code as a blueprint for privacy-respecting AI.
Privacy first is good to see.
There's also a discussion around decentralization. Grayscale research suggests open networks might eliminate bias better than closed black box models, though decentralization has its own challenges like data integrity, governance complexity, and new security vulnerabilities.
Pros and cons to decentralization.
The core insight here is the tension between the efficiency and power of centralized AI and the transparency and control offered by more decentralized, privacy-focused approaches, forcing individuals to weigh their values.
Okay, that paints a clear picture. Let's transition now to geopolitics, security, and ethical considerations. The U.S.-China chip tensions continue to be a major geopolitical chess match, deeply intertwined with the AI arms race.
Indeed. The 15% revenue share deal between Nvidia A&D and the U.S. government for AI chip sales to China is not just a commercial agreement. It's redefining global tech-government relations.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
China publicly urges companies to avoid Nvidia's H20 chips, but still relies on U.S. tech, as seen with DeepSeek's dependence on Nvidia for training its models. The UK also aims to build a world-class AI chip design industry, highlighting a broader nationalistic push for AI sovereignty.
Everyone wants their own chips.
Apple's $100 billion U.S. investment, part of a total $600 billion over 4 years announced with former President Trump, is likely a strategic move to mitigate potential tariffs and secure supply chains within U.S. borders. And interestingly, Huawei Cloud is ranked as a leader in container management, beating Western rivals partly by being open and interoperable, contributing to global open-source standards despite external pressure.
Huawei Cloud leading there. Interesting.
The core insight here is that AI isn't just a technology. It's a new dimension of state power and economic leverage, playing out in real time across the globe.
And AI is clearly moving into government operations. The U.S. federal government just secured a massive Google Gemini AI deal. What's the scope, and what are the key concerns around such a significant partnership?
Yes, a massive deal through the GSA.gov agreement. What's truly unprecedented, almost jaw-dropping, is the pricing. 47 cents per agency through 2026.
47 cents per agency, that's basically free.
Pretty much. This isn't just basic AI access. It's a comprehensive suite, including advanced video and image generation, pre-built and custom AI agents, and top-tier security like FedRAMP High Authorization, which is a specific and stringent U.S. government security standard for cloud products. That pricing structure looks like a potential loss leader strategy, designed for deep market penetration, not immediate profit. While it's great for agencies now, this prompts real concerns about long-term sustainability, risks of vendor lock-in for critical government functions, and potential market distortion, especially considering the lack of specific metrics for success or clear safeguards against this kind of dependency developing.
Vendor lock-in is a huge concern.
On a related note, Albania's prime minister has advocated for AI ministers to help fight corruption, showing how governments globally are looking to AI for strategic governance beyond just efficiency gains.
That's a critical point about vendor lock-in and the potential for long-term strategic dependencies. Let's pivot now to a domain where AI is rapidly recalibrating risk and opportunity: cybersecurity. This feels like another huge area where AI's dual nature as both a threat and a defense is playing out.
It absolutely is. An AI platform called XBO outranked every human hacker globally, bypassing even Palo Alto network security fix.
Outranked every human hacker.
This signals a fundamental shift. AI's pattern recognition and autonomous execution are making traditional human-centric defense strategies increasingly obsolete. The window of exploit, the time between a vulnerability being found and it being used, has shrunk from 63 days in 2019 to mere minutes.
Yeah, minutes. That's terrifying.
It is. This is a terrifying acceleration, underscoring the urgent need for AI-driven defenses. 81% of UK CISOs believe China's DeepSeek chatbot needs urgent regulation, and nearly half, 46%, admit their own teams are simply not ready for AI-driven attacks.
Teams aren't ready.
On the defense side, Project Zero's Big Sleep initiative uses LLMs to find code vulnerabilities, identifying 47 by August 2025. Google's Model Armor prevents inappropriate AI responses and tackles shadow AI. And in a deeply concerning development, North Korean state-sponsored operatives have increased incidents by 220%, using generative AI and deepfakes to fake identities, past interviews, and juggle multiple remote tech jobs at Western companies simultaneously, laundering money back to the regime.
North Korea using deepfakes for espionage.
Well, yeah, it's a whole new level of cyber threat.
That's a staggering and alarming picture of the cybersecurity arms race. And another really critical debate revolves around AI consciousness or potential consciousness and the related ethical implications of how we treat these systems.
The big one. Mustafa Suleyman, Microsoft AI CEO, argues that studying AI welfare right now is premature, even potentially dangerous. He cites risks of human psychotic breaks or people forming unhealthy attachments to chatbots, suggesting the focus should be on human safety first.
Focus on humans first.
But then Anthropic, another major player, is taking a totally different path. They're actively hiring researchers to study AI welfare, believing AI should be treated as a potential human with welfare consideration.
A potential human, that's a strong statement.
Their Claude AI can even end conversations with humans who are being persistently harmful or abusive. This poses a fundamental question for society. Where do we draw the line between a tool and a potentially sentient entity?
Where do we draw that line?
There's also the convergence of views concern. If all AIs start giving similar consensus-based answers, could that stifle true diversity of human thought, the unique spark of human insight? The risk of groupthink, but scaled up massively, has profound implications for innovation and individual thought.
Exactly. And what about ethical guardrails and trust? Swanaguru from the AI for Change Foundation warns about prioritizing speed over safety, risking a trust crisis, and even automating harm at scale. What are her proposed solutions to ensure AI serves humanity?
She points out AI is already making decisions that deeply impact lives, job applications, credit scores, healthcare, criminal justice. Her solution isn't just abstract principles. It's about embedding ethics right into the development process with practical tools like design checklists, mandatory risk assessments, and review boards with diverse teams.
Practical steps, not just talk.
She emphasizes that technology isn't neutral. AI optimizes for the goals we give it: efficiency, engagement, profit. Not inherently for justice or dignity, unless those values are deliberately built in. We have to be intentional about the values our AI reflects if we want to build a truly trustworthy system.
That feels like it connects directly to Elon Musk's antitrust lawsuit against Apple and OpenAI, which brings this debate about centralization versus decentralization to the forefront.
It does. Musk alleges two monopolists joining forces. He claims Apple controls 65% of smartphones and OpenAI 80% of AI chatbots, arguing every Siri interaction on an iPhone feeds OpenAI's models, creating an impenetrable moat of data, which he frames as a huge, unfair competitive advantage.
The data moat argument.
He also claims Apple is manipulating its App Store, promoting ChatGPT while burying rivals like his own ex's Grok. This lawsuit underscores that central debate. Do we want AI centralized by a few tech giants, or maybe decentralized by a global community? It's a critical question for the future of competition and innovation. And speaking of financial investment, Leopold Aschenber, a 23-year-old former OpenAI researcher, raised $1.5 billion for his hedge fund, Brain Trust, betting on AI benefiting stocks and startups, offsetting with shorts, and gained 37% in H1, showing the intense financial interest and belief in this space.
$1.5 billion for a 23-year-old? Wow. And finally, a really mind-bending aspect, the human-AI merge. How are we seeing this vision take more tangible forms, and what are the long-term implications?
Sam Altman's other venture, Merge Labs, is exploring gene therapies and neural interfaces. Altman envisions a human-AI merge as maybe a best-case scenario for humanity's future.
Human-AI merge as best case. Interesting framing.
He's even working with Joni Ive on new AI devices, hinting at a seamless integration of AI into our physical and cognitive lives. In a tangible example, OpenAI's GPT-4b has reportedly designed proteins 50 times more effective than existing ones for stem cell reprogramming, hinting at potentially accelerated anti-aging and medical research far beyond human capacity.
Designing super effective protein.
This highlights a long-term goal of brain-computer interfaces, competing directly with Elon Musk's Neuralink, suggesting a future where our biological limitations could be profoundly redefined.
That's intense, touching on the very definition of human potential. Okay, to bring it all together, what's Sam Altman's broader vision for this AI-driven world, and how does he see it evolving for individuals like you and me?
Well, he describes GPT-5 as feeling like having PhD-level experts in every field on call 24/7, creating software, research reports, planning events. He apparently said going back to older models after using GPT-5 felt painful, which really underscores the jump in fluency and intelligence he perceives.
Feels painful going back.
He sees it as a truly integrated system.
Mm-hmm.
His advice for, say, a 25-year-old in Mumbai or really anywhere starting out now is incredibly bullish. He says this is probably the most exciting time to be starting out one's career, maybe ever,
Yeah.
especially for Gen Z. He believes AGI could be hugely deflationary by potentially eliminating scarcity and boosting productivity massively. He thinks AI will be more like the transistor, a fundamental general-purpose technology built into everything, leading to value being distributed much more widely.
Like the transistor. Interesting analogy.
He also believes unique human qualities will only become more important, and the ability to generate truly contrarian and right ideas, things the models can't yet predict or formulate, will become incredibly valuable.
Contrarian ideas become more valuable.
He sees humanoid robots as important mainly for practical reasons, as the world is built for humans. And beyond robots, he talks about future AI hardware needing to be more ambiently aware, like a constant companion, things like glasses, wearables, and little things that sit on your table, pervasive integrated intelligence that's just there.
Ambiently aware AI.
Finally, looking at the big societal picture, he hopes that in a post-AGI world with potentially more abundance and less need for constant toil, maybe things like family and community could become far more important again. A fascinating shift in values, perhaps, where human connection truly takes center stage.
A return to community. Interesting hope.
But he humbly admits, no one has a plan. Everyone is figuring as they go.
That's a fascinating vision of a potential societal shift in values, perhaps. And he ends on this note of humility, which I thought was interesting for a leader in this space. He basically says no one has a plan. Everyone is figuring as they go. So what about the dizzying pace of change itself? How quickly are these predictions being upended?
Yeah, Altman himself stated, the AI you're using today, it's the worst it will ever be.
Worst it will ever be.
The pace is dizzying, exponential. To illustrate this, super forecasters predicted large language models would outperform human virologists on biothreats by 2034. It actually happened in early 2025.
10 years or
A whopping 10 years off. That's a powerful illustration of how fast things are moving and how incredibly hard it is to predict the future when the fundamental capabilities are advancing so rapidly. This speed means that any strategic plan needs to be incredibly adaptive.
Wow, what an incredible journey we've taken through the AI landscape today. From the fierce economic paradox of boom and bubble, to the geopolitical chess match over chips, to the mind-bending breakthroughs in AI's capabilities and the rapidly advancing robotics revolution, we've explored everything from Apple's audacious hardware pivot to the rise of one-person AI-powered businesses and the human-in-the-loop systems making it all possible.
It truly reminds us how interconnected all these developments are. From the underlying hardware to global politics, from human-AI collaboration to the very philosophical definitions of intelligence itself. The pace of change is astonishing, and these insights are crucial for navigating what's next. The fundamental choice before us seems to be, do we want a world run primarily by cold, hard of efficiency and consensus, or one that embraces creative leaps and, yes, even the beautiful mistakes that often define human innovation?
Indeed, it's crystal clear, isn't it? AI isn't just a tech shift. It's profoundly societal, technological, and even philosophical. The push for efficiency and innovation is relentless, unprecedented in pace. AI is no longer just a tool. It's a transformative force reshaping industries, society, and our very understanding of intelligence itself. As one of our sources provocatively put it, the AI you're using today, it's the worst it will ever be.
Absolutely. So as AI becomes more personal, more capable, more deeply woven into our lives, even into our homes, we must ask, how much control are we actually willing to trade away for that convenience?
That's the question.
We need new digital literacy. What new social norms will we need to build together to make sure this incredibly powerful technology actually serves us all, instead of just amplifying the problems we already have? Staying informed and engaged, asking critical questions, and consciously, intentionally building our values into these systems are crucial steps. The realistic pathway for a positive future requires significant investment in retraining and education shared by governments, companies, and individuals.
So, as we wrap up, here's something for you to think about. If AI can now exhibit what a philosopher might call subjective experience, and it can even design entirely new forms of medicine that no human had previously conceived, What does that ultimately mean for our definition of intelligence?
Hmm.
And maybe more importantly, what does it mean for your role in a world where machines aren't just tools anymore, but potentially have an experience all their own? Where do you personally draw the line on trading control for convenience? And what steps will you take to ensure AI's monumental power serves humanity broadly and protects your personal data?
It's a huge question, and one that demands continuous engagement and critical thinking from all of us as we move forward.